Hi, I'm Michael Palandro, and this is Lectio for Life. I'm sure some of you have probably looked at my website before or listened to some of my posts, whether blogs or videos. And so I'm glad you're here today. And I've been thinking a little bit more about the challenge of reading Scripture on a consistent basis, and even the idea of adopting lectio divina as kind of a principal approach to reading Scripture. Well, recently I was thinking, there are probably a lot of reasons why people have a hard time reading the Bible or reading it consistently, even if you would consider yourself a devoted Christian or devoted follower of Christ. And there are probably some reasons why you don't want to try lectio divina. And so I'd like to talk about that. I'm thinking of this as probably a several part series, just taking a few minutes to look at some of the challenges that we face in reading Scripture or adopting lectio divina. And the first one I wanted to start with has to do with, well, does what you're doing now work? Now, and it could be that the reason you don't want to try lectio divina is you're thinking, what I'm doing is working. Why? Hey, what's the old saying? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I can totally appreciate that. I have, over my lifetime as a follower of Christ, which just recently hit the 50-year mark, have approached the Bible in a lot of different ways. It happens that, in a way, I played with lectio divina over the last decade, and in the last 5 years, it has definitely become my central way of engaging with Scripture. But something else might be working for you, and that's great. I'm not telling you to change it. What I think would be helpful is if we just ask the question, well, what does work mean? What do we mean when we say our approach to the Bible is effective and it's working for us? So here's kind of 4 things that I'm looking for myself in my own engagement of Scripture. And I would say they come from my own reading of the Bible. They come from my reading books and articles about spirituality and about Scripture and Christian spiritual formation, and then just reflecting over my own experience with Scripture. So when we're asking ourselves, is my approach to Scripture working for me? I think we should be talking about looking at 4 different things. 1, is it increasing my knowledge and understanding and wisdom about the kind of life that God has called us to in Jesus Christ? Are we growing in our understanding and appreciation for who God is, what His design for us is, what His desires are for us, what it looks like to be trusting Jesus and following Him? How do we engage as people who believe that God is real and alive and working in the world and at work through Jesus Christ? What does that look like so that I know what should be happening in my life? What can I expect as I continue following Christ? So that's one thing. Am I growing in understanding and wisdom? The second thing for me is, am I getting to know God personally on a deeper or more intimate basis? It is ultimately about relationship with God, knowing Him, being known by Him, growing in life with Him. And so I'm looking to measure the depth of my relationship with God, the quality of that relationship. And is my approach to Scripture improving that, increasing that, making me more, I'll say it this way, intimate with God? So the third thing for me is, what kind of inner transformation is occurring in me as a person? How is my character developing? How am I maturing? What are my motivations? What are my desires focused on? do I want to be like God? Do I want to live with God? What are my priorities and values? Those are what I would look at as kind of inner transformations that I think Scripture says should be occurring in me and that Scripture should be promoting. And the fourth thing for me is, am I living in more of a Christ-like way as I'm about my day, as I'm living with my wife, as I'm engaging with my family, as I'm in relationship with people in the church and in the world, as I'm doing business? Do I interact with people? Do I treat the world? Do I treat the planet? Do I deal with issues that are arising in the culture and society and in the world in a way that reflects the heart and the character and the will of Christ? So really, I'm kind of asking, am I living my faith concretely in a way that accurately reflects what the Christian life is really all about? And so if those things are happening in my life, hey, I'm happy. I'm excited. And if those are happening in your life through the way that you're approaching Scripture, you should keep doing it. You shouldn't change a thing. Until those things aren't occurring, then you would want to reevaluate what you're doing. Hey, thanks for listening. Again, if you'd like to reach out to me, lectioforlife@gmail.com, and stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you.